All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome you this afternoon, and especially all the businesses and intergovernmental agencies that are here today to talk about metal theft. And you can tell by the people that are standing behind me that this is a tremendous issue here in Georgia. I have for the press some bullet points that you're free to have that can be handed out, and also for you guys standing behind me, I have some bullet points and also a list of different agencies, groups. There's several that's not listed on here, but this is a listing of the current endorsements of the need to have metal theft legislation. I'm joined here today with Senator Stone and also Representative Buzz Brockaway from the House. There are several bills that are being introduced into the Senate. Senator Ramsey has a bill. Senator Stone has a bill. Of course, I'm going to have a bill. And Senator McCoon has a bill. And in the House, I have been told there's up to 10 legislators that have bills on this topic. So you can tell by the interest that's been generated on the issue of metal theft that it's a predominant issue in the 2012 General Assembly session. The bill that we have written is a work in progress, and some of the staff is here, and it's hot off the press. And if you followed legislation that was several years ago, 3 years ago, you knew that it was a work in progress. And part of the reason that we're here today is because a lot of the bill in 2009 was actually stripped out. And one of my favorite topics of 2009 was the thumbprint that was included in that particular bill that got stripped out. In the bill that we have here today, it is more or less a kitchen sink. It includes the thumbprint. It includes a database, a registry. The Sheriff's Association has been working in conjunction with the legislators, and they're a crucial, vital point of this, as is ACCG and GMA. By the people you can see behind me, this press conference is not about me. It's not about the legislators and the legislation. It's about the industries that are being damaged because of thieves at night who are supporting drug habits and, I guess, putting food on the table. I'm not quite sure why they steal, but they are being drastically affected. And before you see different types of metals that are repeatedly being stolen. You see someone just put, just a minute ago, a car up here. Unfortunately, cars are stolen, and within 2 hours they're crushed. And the thing that we learned 3 years ago about cars, this sewer plate is from the city of Atlanta. It weighs about 130 pounds. And 3 years ago it was testified that people put these in the back ends of trunks of cars, and then they go in and crush the car, so therefore the car weighs more and they get more for the scrap car. But unfortunately, when a car is crushed within 2 or 3 hours, obviously the police have a hard time of tracking down and trying to verify the title on the car and who the car belonged to and where the car ended up to. Also, one of the things that I talked about 3 years ago is the incidence of metal theft on cemeteries. I said it's a shame. It is absolutely a shame in the state of Georgia that cemeteries have to put video cameras up in trees to be able to watch dead people. And it's not the dead people, it's the people that are stealing from them. And today we have with us a brass urn that was from Gwinnett County Metal Theft Unit, and this was one of 140 urns that were stolen in one night. And of course these urns are melted down. This particular urn has a cross on it, and usually that cross symbolizes a veteran. So you can see that it hurts many, many individuals and families. Also, we found out 3 years ago and repeatedly since 3 years about churches in metropolitan Atlanta that cannot even meet during the summertime because repeatedly their air conditioner units have been stolen, and the heat is so pervasive in the South that they just don't meet in the summer anymore. And I can tell you what has happened to our society when we are stealing from dead people and we can't even go to church on Sunday. So this conference is about the people standing behind me, and I am going to ask them to come up and let them tell you about the effect of metal theft on their particular industry. This is a Kroger buggy basket, and people ask me, well, why do you have a Kroger buggy basket? Unfortunately, this basket costs around $120 for a grocer to purchase. And thieves in the night and during the day also steal these and take them to recycling centers, to scrappers, and they may get $5 for this $120 piece. And we did talk to a grocer who has to purchase $250 a year as replacement throughout the year because of the number of buggies that are stolen. So I'm going to ask, we have had a 3-year coalition of members of metal theft, people that are interested in metal theft. These are some of the folks behind me. And also, in addition to the Sheriff's Association, I have from my own county, Gwinnett County, the Metal Theft Division that was created in the last 3 years. And I said, it's a shame that my county has to put a division together to take people away from investigating murders, rapes, and accidents on I-85 and Stone Mountain. They can't investigate those because they're having to investigate petty thievery. And it's just a shame that they have to be withdrawn, but they're making a dent. And I will say that they are working with some recyclers, and they can talk about this, that are actually helping them. There are good people in the recycling industry, but unfortunately there's many, many people who are not good, and those are the ones that are purchasing stolen goods. And I have for the news folks a listing of how much copper costs and how much they get reimbursed on copper. And you can see, because of the escalating value of copper, that that's why the thievery has become so persistent. So with that, I'm going to introduce Mr. Kevin Curtin, who has been in charge of the coalition. He is with AT&T, and I would like for him to talk about his industry. And then I'm going to have other folks come up because, like I said, this is not about the General Assembly. This is about the damages that are being done to industries and the cost to industries all over the state of Georgia. Kevin?
Thank you, Senator. You see a group behind you of a diverse interests that represents everybody from the insurance industry to the utilities to folks who run cemeteries in the state, everyone who's been affected by metals theft. I'll just tell you personally from our perspective at AT&T, we have seen our losses in Georgia triple over the last 12 months to over $1.2 million a year of copper being stolen out of our network in the state of Georgia. And you might think, well, no big deal, just put up some new copper lines, not a big problem. Problem is, if your copper is stolen for your phone lines, you can't call 911. It could be life-affecting. So this is not just a loss issue, it is a threat to human life. And we want to make the point today that if we can cut down on copper theft, we will hopefully save lives in the future. So that's all I have for you.
Okay. Would the department like to say something?
Sure. Hi, I'm Corporal Jake Smith with the Gwinnett County Police Department. Last year we started a metal theft unit. We've participated previously in metal theft task forces with other departments, but our chief and the command staff saw fit to actually start a metal theft unit specifically targeting these type of crimes. We've met with a very great success within the unit. It is unfortunate, like the Senator mentioned, that these detectives have to be pulled away from other types of investigations. But that being said, we're meeting with some good cooperation from a lot of the recyclers within the county. Certainly more could be done. We're fans of what's being studied in this group and the legislation they're looking at, revising and changing and hopefully passing. And we're thankful for the Senator's efforts and the group that's assembled here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any other industries, the Sheriff Association?
My name's Scott Berry, S-C-O-T-T-B-E-R-R-Y. I'm the Sheriff of Oconee, O-C-O-N-E-E County. I want to thank, first off, Senator, for you helping sponsor this legislation, and our friends in the House who recognize the serious issue, the serious cost the theft of ferrous and non-ferrous metals have on people across the state of Georgia. And my challenge today is for the industry, the legitimate actors in the industry, to come up and get on this side of the wall with us, and let's work together. And let's come up with a plan, and let's come up with a database, and let's come up with a way that we can fight the criminals that are just ravaging the state of Georgia. And my challenge is to get the legitimate members of the metal recycling industry, instead of being standing out there, to have them stand up here with us. And that's what I'd like to see happen and come out of this, Senator. Thank you so very much for your sponsorship, your leadership, and I want to thank all my other partners in law enforcement and the insurance industry that are standing here with us today. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? No? Everybody's shy? Come on down. I did want to show one thing that is here. These are railroad spikes, and we also have parts of the track. Obviously, we can't bring the track here because the track is too heavy, but they actually go out and dig up pieces of the track. And you can imagine to the railroad industry what effect that has with derailing trains. And it's hard to believe that someone would actually be out on a railroad track digging this up, but they have actually been found, and it's a problem.
Thank you, Senator Tom Parker with Georgia Transmission Corporation, a part of the EMCs in Georgia. We appreciate your sponsoring this legislation and your colleagues in the House and the Senate. On behalf of the EMCs, our concern is the safety of our employees. Copper in substations and on power lines are used for grounding. When the ground is gone, the safety of the employees, the contractors that are working those substations, going in for maintenance and repairs, lives are put in jeopardy. And we're very concerned about that and appreciate you introducing this legislation.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? Everybody's shy. They're always telling me how to speak. But I do have the bullet points on this. The main thing is that it creates a database. It creates a registry. It's kind of modeled after the pawn industry. And that's one of my big beefs, is the pawn industry clean themselves up. Why can't the recycling industry clean themselves up instead of having the General Assembly have to do it for them? I do have copies of the pieces of legislation. Senator Stone, I don't know if you want to say something. I know Senator McCoon has had a tremendous problem down in the Columbus area. If you see up here the irrigation systems that are dug up from the farm, we do have the agricultural interest that are represented here today. They dig this up for aluminum and also for the brass fittings where the water actually flows through. So it has a tremendous effect. Plus they also steal the farm implements out of the fields.
Thank you, Senator. I'm glad that this press conference has brought out diverse interests to unite to resolve a problem. In my area of the state, south of Augusta, our farmers are pulling their hair out. They do not know how to prevent their irrigation systems from being stripped of copper. And of course, the damage to them is far greater than the cost of the copper or even the repair to the irrigation system. The loss of crops in the numbers of hundreds of thousands of dollars is what's at stake. This is a terrible problem. I have one constituent whose cotton gin was stripped of metal and was shuttered for a year because of this type of theft. In my district, we've had food banks whose refrigeration units were stripped. And the cost of that in terms of being able to help people who need food is uncalculable. So we hope that by focusing on preventing copper theft and other metal theft, that we can nip this problem in the bud. The people who do it it's hard to imagine what goes through their minds when they're doing this, because it's not easy and it's dangerous. So if we can do something to prevent it from happening, we'll stay one step ahead of the game. Thank you.
Up here we have fiber optic pieces of metal that have been, a lot of these things that are up here have been taken from the unit as evidence, and of course they'll be sent back. I believe this spool of copper is worth about $125, and it was funny when the people were bringing it here to the Capitol, they got asked on the street, where'd you get that copper and do you want to sell it? So the other thing that we have here is some more coils. We have some air conditioner coils. This big piece of equipment down here is a catalytic converter. Part 2 of the new bill covers vehicle parts. And I think with that, does anyone have anything else they want to add? With that, you have the bullet points. They're right here. I'll get them distributed. I want to make sure y'all go home with them, put them in your local newspaper. Hello, you want to come on up? You want to get that? Oh.
Thank you, Senator, for this leadership on this matter. I'd like to just say two things. I know that law enforcement have already spoken, but the city of Atlanta is no different than all departments around our state, and not in just the state, around our nation. This is a challenge for us. There's not a single entity that hadn't been affected by this problem. I thank you for your leadership in this. We've got to get our hands around this.
Thank you.
You know, utilities, churches around our city, we've been working in this space for about 3 years. We realized that it was a regional issue that we had to take some lead in, and that's what we've been doing. So we're just so thankful for your leadership in this, and we've got to have a better opportunity that we work together to try to resolve this at this level. So I thank you for that, and we look forward to working with you and partnering with you in any kind of way we can.
Thank you. Thank you. Like I said, we have a strong coalition. I know that the President Pro Tem of the Senate, Senator Tommy Williams, has been directly affected. He's in the pine straw industry, and he's had 2 tractor trailers. The trailers were stolen from him. 18-wheeler trailers were stolen. Senator Schaefer, where one of these bills is going through, is the chairman of regulated industry, and he had air conditioning units. So when I talk to legislators, just about every legislator that I have talked to has been affected by metal theft, either themselves personally or by constituent calls that have come into their office. And unfortunately, 3 years ago, the bill did not stem the tide, and that's why we're back here today. Lastly, I want to close out and just say thank you to the news media. We could not be where we are today. I have to say that I think some of your news reports have fallen into your laps because it's so easy to do. One of the ones, the news reports that was so indicative to me was a gentleman who was killed on top of a roof, and he wasn't found for 2 days until his family member told them, you might want to go check on the roof of such and such factory, and he might be up there. And sure enough, he was up there dead. So the news media has done a tremendous help in trying to get this to the forefront. You're part of the reason why this bill is here today. You're part of the reason why so many senators and so many representatives are interested in it. There have been many investigative reporting stories done on television. We're very grateful for those because you're actually showing when you take a stop sign in or you take a metal vase, a bronze vase, and people are willing to buy it, it proves that this stuff is being bought somewhere, and we're very grateful to the media to be able to bring that to the forefront. With that, I'll answer any questions. I want to be brief. This will be on the Senate floor hopefully soon. There's many representatives that have bills going through committee. I think Senator McCoon's bill is in Judiciary. My bill will be going to Regulated Industries, and you're going to see these bills combined and compiled to come out with something good in 2012.